Hi you guys, this is Miss Burgard. This is part one of your three-part series for Unit 1. Again, to remind you guys, because you're starting late, I didn't want you to have to repeat Unit 1, but there are a lot of things in there that I need you to know before moving on to some of the more advanced content starting in Unit 2. So instead of having you do the entire unit, I'm just going to have you do 3 parts, and this first part that you're going to be learning about is technology. So before we go on with this, I want to make sure everyone has the handout. If you don't have it, go grab it from Analog Buzz under part 1. But I will move on. If you need to go grab it, just pause this recording. So again, this first thing that we're going to be learning about is how to use technology. And not just how to use it, but how to use it at a college and career level. So the things that we need to know in order to really take our writing to the next level. So in this class, there's 2 types of software that we're really going to be using. The first one is Microsoft Word. Many of you guys have used Microsoft Word in the past. You'll see this Word document up here. It looks something like this. And the other one that we'll be using is Google Drive, and some of you may or may not be familiar with that one. So Google Drive, what it is, it's an online file sharing and storage software. So again, I'll repeat it. It's an online file sharing and storage software. So what that means is it's very much similar to Microsoft Word, except that it's on the internet and you can share your files with other people and you can store them on the internet under your own Gmail account. So it is very much like Microsoft Word, but there are some benefits of using Google Drive. The first benefit is that it saves automatically. So you never have to click on a save button, you never have to worry about it. It just saves your work as you go to the internet. The second is that you can access those documents from any computer. Because it's on the internet, it allows you to access the internet from any computer. So you might have a laptop at school that you use and it has your document there, but there also might be a desktop in another classroom that you use and you have access to those documents there. And the third is that you can collaborate in real time. And what that means is that other people and yourself can be working on one document at the same time. So when you share it with your friend, they can be typing on that document while you also are typing on that document, and you'll be able to see them typing on your document as you sit at your computer screen. So again, those benefits are that it saves automatically, you can access it from any computer, and it allows you to collaborate with people in real time. So I'm going to show you guys how to access your Google Drive. What you're going to want to do is on the internet, you're going to want to access your mail for your PACE email address. So you're going to go to mail.southeasternhs.org. So hopefully everyone can see me there, mail.southeasternhs.org. And when you do that, it's going to take you to a screen like this. Now each of you should have your own unique PACE email address. It is your first name, period, last name. I'll type in mine, but make sure that you're typing in yours when you log on for yours. So you're going to log into your email account. And you're going to see this is my email account, but yours will be unique to you. What you're going to want to do, up here in this little thing, you'll see a button. It's called your apps. You want to click on your apps at the top of the page and go to Drive. So I'll show you one more time. Go to this little square button here and go to Apps and click on your Drive. Okay, so this is my drive, but again, when you do yours, it will be your drive. Now, Google Drive does not just allow you to create documents. There's a lot of things you can create here. So you can see over here, this says create folder. So you can create a document, you can create a PowerPoint presentation, you can create a spreadsheet like a table, you can create a form, this is something like a survey, and you can also create drawings. But for the most part in my class, you'll be creating a lot of documents. So you're going to want to go ahead and click Create Document. So click on Create, and again, Document. Now what you'll see here is very similar to Microsoft Word. It's just a blank Word template. It has all the same toolbars, all the same fonts, things like that. So you should have some familiarity with how to use these things. To give your document a title, you just want to click up here. For my class specifically, you're always going to want to create a title that's easy for me to understand what you're sending me. So you're probably want to do your last name, and let's say this is Part 1, Learn. So what you do is you create this document, but then you are going to want to share it with me. It's the same thing as emailing me the attachment, but instead you're just sharing me on the actual document. So to share your Word document, you're going to want to follow these steps. Up here you'll notice there's a blue icon that says share. What you're going to want to do is click on share, again located at that top right corner. And down here you'll see a box that says invite people. So this is how I want you to always add me to these documents. So when you invite someone, you're going to type in their email address. So you would type in burkgard@southeasternhs.org if you wanted to invite me to it. Now you're going to have a couple options here. Right next to it you see can edit, can comment, and can view. If you want the person just to have access to view your document, you're going to want to click on can view. That means they can't do anything to it, they can just see it. If you want them to leave you a comment, maybe with some feedback, you're going to want to click on can comment. If you want them to actually have the right to edit the document, to actually change things within the document, then you would put can edit. A word to the wise though, only say can edit for someone that you actually want to have those privileges, because sometimes people can go in and delete your stuff. So make sure that if you want them to just see it, you click on can view. If you want them to be able to edit it, you'd say can edit. So for my class, for the most part, you'll be able to say can comment. So I can leave you feedback on it. And then when you're finished, you're going to click on share and save. Now I'll get an email that says that I have been added to your document, and when I get it, I should be able to click on it and see what you've done. Okay, so that is the first thing that we're going to be using here is Google Drive. So again, it's the same thing as Microsoft Word, except that it's on the internet, and you're able to share it with people very, very quickly. So now the second tool that we're going to be using is Microsoft Word. Microsoft Word is a word processor in the Microsoft Office suite. So it is a word processor. It allows you to write essays on it. So again, it's a word processor in the Microsoft suite. Now the reason we're going to be using Microsoft Word sometimes is that it allows you to track your changes. And I'll show you what that means in a second, but what that means is it shows me the edits that you're making. So let me pull up an essay here. Let me pull up Devontae's essay for you. So when you show me your essay, I'll be able to go in and actually track changes on it, which means I can give you edits on that paper without actually having a hard copy of it in front of me. The same way you might have had a teacher in the past that gives you back your essay and it's covered in red marks, we can kind of do that same thing. So before we get into that, let me talk a little bit about editing. Now you may have a general idea of what editing is, but for a lot of us, we think of editing as I give my paper to somebody and they tell me what's wrong with it and then I turn it in. But I want to make sure that we all understand that before giving your paper to someone else to edit, you should first edit that paper yourself. You never want to go give a paper to somebody that is filled with grammar and spelling errors. So make sure that you are really going through and editing before you hand that paper off to somebody else. One thing you will notice on essays sometimes is that there will be these lines. Let me show you guys what I mean by that. So what I mean by that is sometimes you'll see these squiggly lines. You'll see right here a red squiggly line. Those squiggly lines mean that you either have a spelling error or a grammar error. Now, when you submit a final draft to me or to any other teacher, you want to make sure there are never squiggly lines. Sometimes Microsoft Word will be wrong, but you have to make sure you go through and click and say, I think you're wrong or I think you're right. But you never want to submit a paper that has those squiggly lines on it. So Microsoft Word has a cool feature called spell check. Many of you guys have used it before, but there are two different ways to run a spell check. The first one we are pretty familiar with. It's when you right click and you'll see the option pop up. So I right click and it'll come up with options and I choose the one I like best. So that's the first option. The second option, and again mine because I'm on a Mac computer looks a little different than yours, but on yours I'll tell you how to do it. So to do the spell check of the whole document, you want to go to the review panel, and for you guys, your spelling and grammar will be over here. So you want to click on review and click on spelling and grammar. I'll give you a second to write that down. So I can't show you on mine because it looks a little different than yours. Mine is under tools, but for you, again, it'll be under review, spelling, and grammar. But this kind of dialog box will pop up. This allows you to check the spelling of an entire document. So you would say, yeah, I think I'm going to ignore this, or nope, I actually think you're right. I'm going to change the spelling of this word. So this allows you to spell check your whole document. And it'll come up with a box that says you're done when you've fixed every single thing. So again, the two options are to right-click a word and choose the spelling, or to go to Review, Spelling, and Grammar. Now the second thing I'm going to show you guys is a thesaurus. Some of you have used these before. A thesaurus is a list of synonyms and antonyms. So synonyms are words that are different words but have the same meaning. So if I think of the word sleepy, a synonym would be exhausted or tired or lethargic, fatigued. Those are all synonyms, so different words that mean the same things. Now antonyms are the opposite of that. So if I said, what's an antonym of sleepy, it would be maybe energetic. So a thesaurus is a list of these synonyms and antonyms. And a thesaurus is a good way to really boost your vocabulary, to learn words that mean things that you've already known about, but in a different way of saying them. So to get to this thesaurus, you're going to want to go to your review pane again, and over here in this area, you'll see a thing that says thesaurus. Mine, again, looks a little different than yours, but just to make sure, again, you know, you click on review, and then click on thesaurus. So what's going to pop up is a toolbar that looks like this. So what that does is it gives you a list of those synonyms. So if I say this technique, I'm going to go through my list of synonyms and maybe change that to system or practice or procedure or maybe skill. So it's just a way for you to really hone in on some different vocabulary that you can be using in your essays. So I may require you sometimes to give me new words that you found in the thesaurus and use them correctly in your essays to really boost that vocabulary skill. So when I want to, let's say, change technique to skill, I'm going to say insert and it will change it for me. Okay? So again, that's the thesaurus. It's a list of synonyms and antonyms, and to get there for you guys, you click on review, and over on the left-hand side, you click on thesaurus. Now, the problem with doing these things, though, is that when I give my paper to somebody else, let's say I give them my laptop, and I say, can you edit this paper for me? When they give it back to me, I have no record of what they actually changed. Again, going back to when you have a paper assignment and you hand it to your teacher, when they hand it back to you, they give you your paper back with edits on it, and usually a red pen. So you can at least go through and see what they changed. But on technology, you know, it's a lot harder to see those edits. So there is a feature in Microsoft Word called Track Changes. Now, Track Changes is a feature in Microsoft Word that allows you to track the edits that are made to your paper. So again, it is a feature in Microsoft Word that allows you to track any edits made to your paper. So let me show you what I mean by that. Again, it looks a little different on mine. I'm sorry about that. But for you guys, it's under the Review tab again. But right about here, there's a button that says Track Changes. Mine is over here, so I'm going to put Track Changes on, but you're going to want to click it over here. Now, what that does is, let's say I decide to change this back to technique. As you can see, it actually shows me what edit I made there. So it crossed out skill because I got rid of it, and it changed it to technique. This is exactly what a teacher would do when they hand your paper back. It's the same thing as me going through with a red pen and showing you what you did wrong or what I think you should change. But it's using technology. So it's a way to really track your changes. So if I was going through your one technology technique you need to know is how to type with fluency. This technique will enable you to complete assignments in a fraction of the time. For example, when you're typing an essay, it can take you about 5 hours to finish, depending on how long the essay has to be. I'm going to add a comma in there. As you can see, the comma shows up in red so that when Devontae goes back through his paper, he knows exactly what edits that I made. Okay, so you're going to want to make sure that you're tracking changes when you're editing other people's work. For my class specifically, you are going to be required to track changes on your paper twice, which means that anytime you submit a final draft to me, 2 people should have sent me the edits that they made to your paper, and I should be able to go into their changes and see exactly what they suggested. Now, just because somebody suggests it, however, does not mean that you need to accept those changes, okay? So just because I thought Devonte should use the word technique does not mean that he has to. If he likes the word skill better than the word technique, then he can definitely keep that. So after someone has tracked changes in your document, you as the author of that paper have to go through and either accept those changes or reject those changes. So again, after they edit it, you want to either accept those changes or reject those changes. So I'll show you on mine what that looks like. Your accept or reject thing looks kind of similar to this, but it's over on this side of the review tab. So you're going to want to say, you know what, I actually don't like the word technique there. I want to keep skill, so I'm going to reject that change. So again, it just moved it back to skill. But let's say this comma right here, I do like that. I'm going to accept that change, okay? So you as the author are going to have to go through after someone gives you back their track changes and either accept the changes that they made to it or reject those changes. This is a very big part of my class, this editing and revision phase, because this is how you're going to become better readers and writers, is when you see your writing and someone else takes a look at it and tells you how you can improve upon it. So again, we need to make sure that we're really learning how to track these changes so that when someone suggests a change to your paper or when you suggest a change to someone else's, you really are able to see those suggestions and decide if you like them or not. As a final note, just be clear that a paper that has never been edited should never be turned into a teacher. You should never write a paper and just hand it in as soon as you're done with it and hope that it looks good. You should always be editing. And again, make sure you're also editing that paper yourself. You're going to want to edit that first, send it off to at least 2 people to edit, and then return it and edit it again yourself. Anybody can really edit your paper. It can be teachers, mentors, friends, parents, guardians, cousins, whoever it is. But you need to find people in your life that can edit those papers with me to help make you a better writer. So that is our first part, which is, again, technology. So go ahead and move on to the practice, which is found in your Buzz practice section. And when you're done with that, go ahead and conference with me, and we will see if you're ready to move on to part 2. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.